What's up, guys? Sports Runs on Diesel here. We're going to be talking about game one of the NBA Finals as Toronto takes out Golden State 118 to 109 in game one behind Pascal Siakam's 32 points, behind a 14 of 17 shooting. The last player to do that in an NBA Finals game was His Airness himself, Michael Jordan, in 1991. Pascal Siakam played a great game here. It looked like he could not be stopped if and by anybody. Draymond Green was very lax on the defense. And, that's what Draymond Green was talking about at the end of game one there in the press conference, was like, he's got to do a better job of taking out Siakam out of the offense for Toronto. Kawhi Leonard had an off night, 5 of 14 shooting. He did shoot 10 of 12 from the free throw line for 23 points. My big thing was this, the biggest tone setter here in game one was Marc Gasol, 14 points in the first half. He finished with 20 for the game. Biggest tone setter to start the game off for Toronto. And then you had Van Vliet coming off the bench with 15 points of his own. Toronto shot over 50% from the field, over 84% from the free throw line, 24 fast break points off of 16 turnovers by Golden State. And in terms of driving to the rim, Toronto outscored Golden State on drives to the rim 27-9. So overall, Toronto just outplayed Golden State. On Golden State's side, Steph and Clay both combined for 55 points. Draymond Green had a triple-double, and they still lost. But like I said, in the keys to game one, Steph Curry and Klay Thompson have to combine for more than 60 points in order for them to have a chance to win game one. They didn't do that, and they end up losing. But they got outplayed. The biggest factor for me was the 16 turnovers that led to 24 fast break points for Toronto, and their transition D was pitiful. And that's something they really got to work on, and they will work on, and it'll be a different defensive Golden State team in game two. My keys to game two, especially for Toronto, is limit Golden State's second chance points, whether that's offensive rebounds or free throw shots. They gave up a lot of offensive rebounds, and then Curry or Clay would hit a three-point shot to keep them in striking distance. So Toronto's got to limit those second chance opportunities, and they got to have better, they got to be smarter on the defensive end and not having dumb fouls on Curry, especially Curry. Curry went 14 of 14 from the free throw line. That also kept Golden State inside that 10-point mark and kept them in striking distance. But if you're the one thing that Toronto did great defensively was they put Van Vliet on Curry. Curry only shot 1 of 7 from the field, 0 of 3 from downtown. So if you're Toronto, you may want to go into game two with that same mindset, saying, hey, Van Vliet was a pest on Curry in game one. Do the same thing, or have him, switch on to Curry via pick and roll or whatever. But I would love to see more Van Vliet on Curry because he played a phenomenal defensive game in game one. If you're Golden State, you got to do a better job on the transition defense, obviously. Take care of the ball. 16 turnovers is not going to cut it. They got to be more towards 10 to 12 turnovers a game for them to have a chance of winning, especially in game two in Toronto. You also, Curry and Klay Thompson need more support. They need another guy who's going to be able to score 15 to 20 points. And right now they don't have that scorer. There's no Kevin Durant. We know that. Iguodala might be out for game two. And there's going to be a lot of trouble coming. Golden State's going to be in a lot of hot water here if there's no Iguodala, who will be the primary defender on Kawhi Leonard. There was 33 matchups between those two in game one. So there'll be a lot of trouble here, especially if KD and Iguodala are out. Also, Boogie Cousins only played 8 minutes, and I understand he's missed the last 14 games, and he's really hasn't played the last 16 out of the last 19 months. So if you're Steve Kerr, you need to find a way to get DeMarcus Cousins more minutes, because I believe his passing ability will help out the motion offense of Golden State. Golden State needs to have more of a sense of urgency as well, especially on the defensive end, transition D, taking care of the ball, but they need to have more of a sense of urgency and have more physicality on the defensive end. And also, we also have to remember Golden State had 9, 10 days of rest. So, they're a little rusty going into game one compared to Toronto's 5 days of rest. So we know Golden State's gonna have, they had a little bit of had to shake off some of the rust in game one. And plus game one is a feel out game. You don't know what the matchups are gonna be in terms of who's gonna guard against who and stuff like that. So it's very easy. It's very easy for us to say, "Oh, Golden State's in trouble." They're not in trouble yet. I believe they will. I believe they can win game two if they adjust the turnovers and they adjust the transition defense. But I want to thank you guys for your time. Oh, before I go, I forgot I was going to tell you my prediction here. Toronto in 7. I have Toronto winning this series in 7 games. I believe Steph Curry and Klay Thompson will get hot when they go back to Oracle Arena, even though Toronto needs to win game 2. Because if this goes to Oracle Arena with a 1-1 series, Golden State will win both of those games at Oracle Arena, and they'll seize control of the whole series. But I believe if Toronto wins game 2, Toronto will win this series in 7 games. I just don't see them winning in Oracle Arena. Oracle Arena is probably the toughest place to win, especially when Curry and Klay get hot. They stay hot, and it seems like they never go cold at Oracle Arena. So I got Toronto winning in 7. I know I haven't been the best at predicting these outcomes, but I believe Toronto will win their first NBA championship. So I want to thank you guys for your time. Smash that like button. Follow me on Sports Runs on Diesel on Facebook. Thank you guys.